Hey guys, welcome to Jazz's Tutorials. This is Jazzy, Jazz's Vids. You guys may know me from my primary channel where I upload AMVs and spend way more time on that than I probably should. Anyways, I've gotten a lot of requests about doing a tutorial for the basics of After Effects, specifically cater to AMV editing. So I'm finally getting to this now. So yeah, let's jump right in. Okay, so when this first opens up, and for anyone who hasn't opened up After Effects before, it can look a little bit intimidating in the sense that you probably don't know where to even start or what this thing even does. So let's get into the first thing. When starting a new project, we're gonna go to Composition, New Composition. Okay, you're gonna set your composition aspect ratio to the ratio of your project. So for me, I usually edit in 1080p and I'm usually in 23.976 frame rate. And I think the rest of this is okay for now. Background color, let's just put it at black for now. Okay, so now you have your first composition. So this is where you're going to be working. Oh, by the way, if you have a scrolling key on your mouse, you can scroll in to zoom in and scroll out to zoom out. You also have this here, which can either zoom out a lot or fit to be 100%, and then it just takes up the whole screen. So that's useful. So now what do? We need some clips. We need some footage. So we're gonna import some anime, and we're gonna pick out an episode from Darling in the Franxx. I was just recently working with this anime for an MEP track, so I have a lot of episodes of this right now. Can't say I'm a fan of this anime. I haven't watched it, but I saw enough while editing, let me tell you that. I'm gonna use first episode. Let's see what's in here. All right. So I'm gonna open this as a new composition. I'm gonna scrub through and find a scene that we want to use. Not that one, oh my gosh. Okay, so let's use this clip. So if you press B on your keyboard, just think B beginning, it's gonna create the little work area start. So we're gonna do that, yeah, that's what it's called. And then we're gonna scroll a little bit to about here. And if you press N on your computer, think end, it'll create the work area end. So now, right in this little gray thing, we're gonna right click and do trim comp to work area. Okay, so now we have our clip. So we can work with this. Okay, so here's our clip. What can we do with it? Oh, After Effects. What are your powers? Let's just run through what all these things mean. So first we have the hand tool. With the hand tool, you can grab your project and wiggle it. And on your mouse, like I told you earlier, you can zoom in. And this hand tool really comes in handy when we're masking, and I will show you that later. Yeah. So what's next? So if you don't want to use the little scrolly thing on your mouse, or if your mouse maybe just doesn't have one of those things, do they even make mice that don't have that? Anyways, you can use this thing and it'll zoom in if you press the left key. And will it zoom out if I press the right key? No, it doesn't. So how do I zoom out? This thing doesn't zoom out. So I guess if you want to zoom out, you do this thing. And then, quick shortcut, you can press H on your keyboard and it'll take you back to the hand tool and you can move this back in center. All right, what's next? Rotation tool. So this is gonna manipulate the actual position of your clip. So when I use this, I can rotate, such as, and if you don't like what you've done, you just press Command Z on your keyboard to undo. All right, next, camera tool. Like this, in this state, we can't do anything with this tool. This will be something I can get into in another tutorial. But right now, we would have to set this as like a 3D layer for this to be of any use to us. Anyways, let's move on. Next tool is an anchor point tool. So this you can change where your anchor point is, so where the center of your clip is. And this comes more in handy when you're doing like zooming work, like scaling kind of work. Like, all right, let me just show you real quick. So if I press S on my keyboard, you see the scale. Now when you zoom in, look, now it's centered on where her nose is. But if I put the anchor point, let's say on this little headband thing that she wears, now press scale. It's going to zoom into that. So that's the importance of that. But right now, I just want to keep it centered. So let's stick with that. Next, we have this shape tool. Now, if you hold down this button, you'll see other options. Rectangle tool, rounded rectangle tool, ellipse tool, which is for circles, polygon tool, star tool. So we're just gonna stick with the rectangle tool. So if you have your clip selected, like make sure this is highlighted like this, and you can just draw a rectangle, you know? Pretty simple. If you hold down the shift key, you will get a perfect square. It allows you to create perfect squares. Anyways, moving on to the most important and loved tool in all of After Effects, the pen tool. As an AMV editor, you can't live without this tool. I'm going to make a tutorial for masking in After Effects. Anyways, but basically your tool is this. It is the pen tool, and it is to cut an image out of your screen. I don't know. It's to cut images out from their backgrounds, or yeah. So like that, except we'll do it much better. Just not right now because I don't feel like masking right now. Like, who likes masking? Nobody, not me. You don't have to actually delete all those. You can just go to highlight this and press delete on your keyboard and it's gone. All right, next is the type tool, and that is for making beautiful text. If you just click on your composition display, you will see, you know, the type tool thing, and you can start typing. So, After Effects, yeah. And you can highlight this, and you can make it smaller over here. You can go back to the selection tool, or just press V on your keyboard, and you can drag it somewhere else. Oh yeah, if you have caps on, if the screen ever comes on, you can't work while caps lock is on, so just turn your caps lock off. And we can change the color. What do we want to make the color? How about something like, I don't know. And if you want, you can even add a stroke. So if you click this thing, you can add some stroke to it, which is like an outline. And we can change the thickness of the stroke here. And so yeah, we have some text. And you can do other things with it, like this will make it wide, and this will make it tall. This will make it spread out some more. And what's this thing do? I don't know what that thing does. Where are we at? Brush tool. This, I use when I want to edit something like about the scene. Like say her smile. Maybe I don't want her smiling. And I also do this in Photoshop, but sometimes if I'm too lazy to put my project in Photoshop, I'll do it here. So you can just use this dropper tool with the paint thing and select your skin color. And then, where's the brushes? Brushes. And to do this, you have to use this paint tool, you need to double click your clip and it'll take you into the separate layer file thing. And then you can work with it and paint over stuff, stuff. How's she look? Does that look good? There we go. I am such an artist. It's a work of art. Beautiful, lovely, finished, tutorial done. This is what you learned. You're welcome. Okay, yeah, just kidding. All right, if you don't like any of that, just drop this down. Drop down effects, paint, delete, and back to normal. Good, good, good. Okay, next, this clone stamp tool. I, honest to God, have never used this in my life. Yeah, we're gonna skip that one. Erase. This is useful when we're, oh, okay, that's what it does. All right, well, this just erases things. Like an eraser does. And Roto Brush. I never use that either because I just mask everything. So, all right, we're gonna exit out of this layer thing now and go back to our composition. And how about we start getting into the effects? Yeah, let's look at what effects After Effects has to offer. Animation presets consist of some things that came with the program and things that maybe you downloaded from the internet. You can download presets. Like me, I downloaded Twitch. Wow, this is really pretty. Why do I never use this? These other things that I never use. Sometimes for text, I use the text animations. Like if you drag these up, if you drag these over to your text layer, it'll create an animation for you, like that. Oh, by the way, when I do that like pre-render thing, it's just spacebar on your keyboard and it plays out in real-time speed. So yeah, I mean, just, look through these yourself, see if any of these are useful to you. They exist, I don't really use them. 3D channel, I don't use that. Audio, don't use that. Blurs, I love the blurs. My favorite blur is camera lens blur. I use this so much. You're always gonna wanna check the repeat edge pixels, and it just creates this really beautiful, like, defocusing kind of blur. I love this so much. Color correction, also really important. One I use a lot is the curves tool. To make your scene just look more, dynamic. And this could also use some saturation. So let's do some saturation. But honestly, the best color correction tool in here is this Lumetri, is that how you say it? Color. It is brilliant. I love it. I use it for everything. And it just has, some basic stuff, temperature. I can do a tint. And yeah, all this stuff. Play around with it, look through it. We're just, doing some simple basics. Definitely go through and look at these effects, like play with them, see what they do to the footage. It's definitely important so you know what's available so you can achieve certain ideas that you have for your video. What's next on this list? We have the align thing, the align panel. That comes in handy, especially for text. When you want like your text to be centered, you can press this and it'll put it in the center of your clip. Let's move on into the next portion of the basics, which is in here. If you press down this down arrow, as you may have seen me do a couple of times already. We have these. With this, we can control like positioning, scale, rotation, opacity, position. Very important. You're going to use it a lot. It's just for moving. You can change the position, left to right, up, down. Scale, we talked about it a little bit earlier. Zoom in, zoom out. Rotation. There's also the tool for it, but you can also control it here. And opacity, which is lowering the opacity. Yes. Black, white, black, white. Now, let's talk a little bit about keyframes. Let's do a really basic keyframe. Keyframes are what you use to animate effects. So like opacity, if I change this and then run through my clip, it'll stay like this the whole time. But maybe I want to do like, you know, like a fade in. So how about we do a little fade in, okay? So let's go to about 9 frames and let's set our opacity back to 100. Now you're gonna press this little stopwatch button right next to it and that'll create your first keyframe. Then you're gonna scroll back to your first frame and let's set our opacity to 0. You can also click this number here and type in the number 0 on your keyboard and then press enter. And you see that it has turned black. Where did our clip go? We have just created our first animation, my friends. We have made it a fade from black. And that's what keyframes are for. To do stuff like that. So let's do one more thing. Let's say we want to do some scaling. I love scale. I pretty much add it to every clip because I don't like static, stationary clips. I always want movement. So let's just add a little bit of movement. And I don't like to do like crazy scale, you know, we'll just set it to something like, this is pretty long clip, so maybe 106. If you press spacebar on your keyboard, you will see some movement now. We've just created a more dynamic clip, like that. You can do the same with your effects here. Let's say we want it to fade in from 0 saturation to saturated. This color range. So set a keyframe here for where it's at. And then just to see what we're doing, just go to about here and let's change the saturation to 0 or -100. And now drag that to your first frame. And now if we press play, you see we've created this little animation. And that's pretty much it. Like, that's the basics of After Effects. I really hope that some of you found this helpful. I tried to keep it super basic, so I know it may have been a little bit boring, but I promise I have ideas for other content I want to do and other tutorials. So I just wanted to help any beginners here watching catch up so that we can all, you know, learn and grow together. If you guys have any questions or suggestions for other tutorials that you'd like to see from me, please leave a comment here or write me on my Twitter. And yeah, if you'd like to keep seeing these videos from me, of course, like and subscribe to this channel. And I hope to put out more content very soon. Thank you guys so much for watching this, and I'll see you guys next time. See ya!